Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. And at first, I wasn't going to touch on this, but the spirit jumped on me to do so. You know, it is concerning our people, man. And we've been telling you so-called Latinos, wherever you may, dwell at, so-called Brazilians, Cubans, Colombians, Ecuadorians, Salvadorians, Mexicans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, so-called, right, that you are Israelites, man. Not all, because some of you go back to Spaniard, right, conquistadors, what have you, but the indigenous that derived from a so-called Negro, Native American, so-called, goes back to them. You are Israelites, man, right? And we've been telling you this. This is knowledge that is known throughout the earth now. You have ignorant, retarded so-called Negro and Latinos that continuously fight and bang on each other. The Lord gonna do something to them. But the ones that got ears to hear, you need to take heed. Because for a lot of you so-called Latinos, man, you think that you're, so-called white. Because you're light skinned, you got stringy hair, and a lot of you have been so, indoctrinated and a lot of you have been brainwashed so bad that, that's how you come off, man, and that's how you walk around. And not, you're not too far off from the Southern Kingdom, so-called Negroes, but so-called Negroes, they would not say that they're white, man. They would be cooning and they would be bootlickers, kissing up to these devils, but they would know that they're not a so-called white man. But the Lord is showing both the kingdoms, all the tribes, that this devil don't like them, man. This is really what this devil wants to do. He wants to put you to death. So this is coming out of Houston, where you had ICE agents. More than likely, there was an Edomite agent who shot and killed a so-called Mexican. So-called Mexicans are from the tribe of Issachar, man, of the nation of Israel. Right? You're not Mexican. Mexican goes back to the, I believe, the Greek god Mexi, or something along those lines. Right? So you're not Mexican, man. You're Issacharite from the tribe of Issachar of the nation of Israel. And you're gonna learn that soon, man. Sooner, Lord willing, sooner than later, man. Because those that don't, this is gonna be their future. You're gonna be taken out by this devil, and you're gonna, outcry. You're gonna have an outcry the same way so-called Negroes have an outcry, man. So let's play it, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing, the Lakers are fired because they're saying the same thing when it comes to Jake, man. They falsifying information. They're lying, completely lying, right? And it's all to justify them putting you to death, man. Check it out.
New surveillance video after Lorenzo Salgado Araujo was fatally shot by ICE agents in Houston. So here you can see what appears to be a black SUV trailing his van. It was a white van. He was going to work on Tuesday morning, just before 7 a.m. Now, the van disappears from view for a few seconds as it makes a U-turn. And when it comes back into frame, you can see it slowly coming to a stop. Now, what happened in these final seconds remains a mystery. These are the pieces that we have. But federal officials have so far not released any details about the ICE agents involved in the shooting. ICE claims Salgado Araujo tried to ram a law enforcement SUV. But according to 3 men who were in the van when the shooting occurred, that version of events from ICE is incorrect. Those men, by the way, are now in ICE custody. And an attorney for them says at no point did they use the van to ram ICE agents. He's actually now accusing ICE in all of this of a cover-up.
After speaking with these men, I have no doubt that what they're saying is the truth. I know that these agents, the agency is going to try to cover it up. This is not the first time that it happens.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam.
Screen, man.
And this is what we're hearing from Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia, who represents Houston, as more and more details about the shooting are revealed.
We certainly now have conflicting testimony. I'm not prepared to say today that it's all lies, but it sure is looking that way.
Now, so far, ICE is not commenting on these claims, but the government's story of what led to the shooting may be unraveling, because originally officials had claimed that Salgado Araujo was part of a targeted operation. That was what they initially said, right? So they admitted it and said this was targeted. But then a source with details about the shooting said that Salgado Araujo was not the target of the operation. So that's unclear. And it's still unclear if ICE agents identified themselves to Salgado Araujo before the shooting. What we do know is that Salgado Araujo does not appear to have had any criminal background. He is a Mexican national. He's been in the United States for 35 years, 3 children, born, bred, and raised here. And according to his son, he was right now in the process of getting a work permit, something his son talked about when we spoke last evening.
He decided that it was time for him to achieve his American dreams after putting 3 kids through college, 1 currently in college, I'm sorry. So he had been informed, and we have spoken as a family time and time again, what my dad should do in the case that he did get detained by ICE. My dad, again, he would have stopped had ICE very clearly identified themselves through their vehicles.
I want to go to Ed Lavandera because he's out front in Dallas live for us tonight. So, Ed.
And one thing I can say, about so-called Mexicans is that they're very heavy on family, right? You see them out, it'd be 8, 9 of them, kids included, doing, what they do. But, like the son say, he wanted to, go for the American dream, and this is what a lot of so-called Mexicans get it wrong at, because, and not just Mexicans, but Latinos, so-called Latinos, period, and some so-called Negroes, that they believe that if they just come over here and work, or if they just work, even if they're born over here, if they just work and take care of their family, that, and stay out of the way, they ain't got nothing to worry about, man. But that's the furthest thing from the truth. You don't realize who you're dealing with, man. You don't realize whose land you're in and who you're under, right? It could be something as simple as this, man. This man just left his house to go pick up some more workers to go to a job, and look what happened, man. So you can just go to and from work and not bother nobody and be at peace with everybody. But hey, look at the outcome for that too. So you gotta, for one, be in the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man, as a so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, man. All of the tribes are being targeted at the same time, man. This is why I read Jeremiah 50:33, because it tells you that both kingdoms are going to be oppressed. Both kingdoms are going to be, targeted. Both kingdoms are going to deal with the same affliction, man. Right? And you see it happening. It happens more so the so-called Negroes in this country, but the tribe, I mean, the so-called Latinos is happening to in Babylon, and they're not reporting it as much. And it's happening in their native countries, whether it's Mexico or like I said, Chile or Uruguay or wherever, man. Right? You deal with the gang violence over there. So there's no escaping. Right? But as for over here in Babylon, hey, these devils, man, they always got their eye on you. Always looking to put you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans to death, man. This is Psalms chapter 10, and I'm going to start at 7. It says, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, man, because that's all these devils do is they'll put Jake to death, and they'll try to cover it up, and in their reports, their initial reports, it'll be nothing but lies, man. Right? He tried to run us over, man. He tried to use his car as a weapon, and we had no choice. Right? But you had other so-called Latinos in the truck with him, and they said that never happened, man. So this man is thirsty for blood, and the number one people whose blood they want to shed is you Israelites, man. It says, verse 7 again, Psalms 10 and 7, it said, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity, man. Yeah, it's all vanity, man. Right? Verse 8, he sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, right? He sit and he watch, right? It says, in the secret places doth he murder the innocent, right? His eyes are privately set against the poor, man. This is his target, man, the Israelites. This is who he wants to kill. This is who he wants to put to death. Let's get another one. Lamentation chapter 4 and verse 17, that says, as for us, our eyes have yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us, because here it is, so-called Negro and Latinos and Native Americans, when they are put to death by the system, they go to the system for justice, which they're not going to ever get. Right? It's the devils that took you out, and you're going to the same devils for justice. It's not going to happen, man. It says they hunt our steps, that we cannot go on our streets. The man just left the house to go to work. As soon as he left the house to go to work, they was on him, man. You seen it in the video. They was tailing them. They was just, following them, man. Right? It says, our end is near. Our days are fulfilled. Our end is come, because what? Man, this thing is about to be wrapped up. Our captivity is about to be wrapped up, man. The tables are about to turn. Right? The tables are about to turn, man. It said, our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. Right? They pursue us upon the mountains. They lay wait for us in the wilderness. Yeah, and that's what they do. Right? This is why redlining was put forth, so they can know where you Israelites are in the city, man, and know where to patrol and where to hunt and who to pretty much, F with. It says, verse 20, the breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen, man. And that's where we live. But the Lord is watching, man. The Lord is watching everything these devils are doing, man. Right? The Lord knows we're in the hand of our enemies. The Lord knows. This is why the Lord said to call out upon him, man. To come back to him, to return to him, to repent. Don't look to make a life here in America, man. Don't think that you're safe here in America because you don't bother nobody and you just go and come and you work and you got your head down. And don't think that, man, because these devils are going to find a way to put you in the grave, man, no matter what. Let's continue.
And a lot of things that we still have not gotten any direct answers about. What is the latest that you are learning about what really happened here?
Well, we've been able to obtain a series of videos over the last few days that really kind of capture those last crucial minutes before Lorenzo Salgado was shot and killed by ICE agents in Houston. So we're going to string all of that together so you can see it. But it also comes at a time where we're hearing from the first time some details about what happened that morning from those detainees who were in the van with Salgado as well.
As Lorenzo Salgado Araujo laid on the ground suffering from a gunshot wound, the three other men in the van with him were being taken into ICE custody by ICE agents Tuesday morning. For the first time, we're hearing their version of the events that led to the Dudley shooting through an attorney who spoke with them.
I can tell you with conviction that my client's versions of the events are extremely different from what ICE agents are saying or what the agency is saying.
After the shooting, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency put out a statement saying Salgado attempted to, quote, evade arrest, weaponized his vehicle, and tried to run over an ICE agent, forcing the officer to shoot the 52-year-old construction worker in self-defense.
At no point was there ever an agent standing in front of the vehicle, nor was an agent ever placed in the line of danger. That is simply false, and I believe my clients are telling the truth.
The Department of Homeland Security says the ICE agents involved were not wearing body cameras and the unmarked cars they were driving were not equipped with dash cameras. And so far, a clear video of the shooting has not emerged. But the videos that have been uncovered raise questions about the federal authorities' description of what happened. At 5:54 a.m., Lorenzo Salgado leaves his house to pick up the three other men for work. The three men told the attorney they were all driving north along Wayside Drive in a white van when an unmarked vehicle started following them. The white van made a U-turn and started moving south on Wayside Drive, as shown in the CNN animation based on videos compiled from the scene. The images show Salgado's white van turned left onto Canal Street at 6:46 a.m., while a black SUV followed closely behind. A second video shows the white van continuing on Canal Street, while a black SUV drives alongside the van on the left side. Seconds later, another black SUV emerges from a parking lot of a shopping center onto Canal Street and follows the two vehicles. Salgado's white van then makes another U-turn, and seconds later, the unmarked ICE vehicles and the white van come to a complete stop. Here is a closer look at these videos and the sequence of movements that led up to the shooting. Salgado's van turns left onto Canal Street.
Hey, man, the way they put it there, it looked like this was a hit, man. I don't know who this brother is, but it looked like a hit, man. Why would they follow him straight 5-something in the morning, and just single him out? He probably been doing this for years. He probably been getting in this car at this time, that white van, and making this moves to work for years, man. So something real fishy about this, man. You got to kind of, look at this as it probably was a hit.
With the black SUV pursuing. The unmarked vehicle carrying ICE agents pulls alongside the van, and the next camera angle captures the last U-turn on the edge of the video image before the cars come to a complete stop, and several ICE agents are then seen running toward the van. It's unclear from the videos when Salgado was shot, but 1 minute later at 6:48 a.m., a bystander captured video of Salgado on the ground, bleeding, with agents surrounding him. The attorney for the detainees said Friday that agents shot at Salgado from the passenger side of his vehicle.
They also confirmed that the shots came from the sides, not from the front, which is inconsistent, with the ICE agent statements.
I just created simple product videos for all these different products using Veo, Nano Banana, and Airtable. No API keys to connect. All the models are built right into Airtable. You don't need to start with professional photos. I just took.
Yeah, because you had them say he tried to hit one of the ICE agents. So if he tried to hit one of the ICE agents and the ICE agent was in front of him, what wouldn't the shots go through the front, window and not the side? Come on, man. It's crazy, man. That's crazy. But the Lord said this, man, because our people got to wake up. Jeremiah 6 and verse 16, it said, "Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein. And ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein." And what's the good way? This truth. Returning back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man, as to who you are, what's your purpose, what you need to do as an Israelite man, as an Israelite woman, right? How to run your household, right? We all know, for the majority of the so-called Latinos, man, they worship other gods, and they got all of these they deal with all of these idols, and they walk around with all types of rosary beads and other kind of beads that they hold on their wrists, and they most of them are Catholics, and they celebrate these pagan holidays, and they go hard with them, man. And singling out the so-called Mexicans, they got this thing called the Day of the Dead, man. Right, and that's a big thing for them. Cinco de Mayo, and they shouldn't do that. So our people are into a lot of things, man. And that's not the good way, right? So the Lord said, but they said we will not walk therein. So they chose the ways they've adopted in Babylon the Great under this devil. It says, also, I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. And who's the watchmen? The Israelites, man. The men that you see on the highways and hedges, teaching you who you are, teaching you the ways of the Lord, teaching you to repent, teaching you who your enemies are, right? That's the watchman, right? It says, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. What's the trumpet? The Bible, right? This truth. It says, but they said, we will not hearken. Therefore, hear ye nations, and know, O congregation, what is among them. Hear, O earth, behold, I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my words, nor to my law, but rejected it. So the Lord said he was going to bring evil unto us in the last days. And we've been catching hell since we've been here in America, Babylon the Great, man. So it's clear we're doing something wrong. So what? You should seek out the good way, the old path, right? Which is the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But if you don't, then you're open to anything happening, right? I got one more. We're going to shut it down.
Aaron, Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia and other advocates for the 3 detainees say that they have been telling family members that immigration authorities have been pressuring them to self-deport since they've been detained since Tuesday morning. We've reached out to the Department of Homeland Security about that. They deny those allegations. They say those allegations are false. Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia also says she spoke with the acting ICE director, who says that he told her that the ICE agents involved in this incident have been taken out of Houston. We've reached out to DHS about that, about whether or not they've been placed on leave, but we have not heard back. Aaron?
All right, Ed, thank you.
And that's crazy. They've been taken out of Houston. So they murder you, Jake, in Houston. And to protect them, they moved them to another state so they can do it again. And then they're masked up. You don't even know what they look like. So now it's like they just gone in the wind. Now they can go to another state and do the same thing. That's these devils, man. Whose possesses slay them, Zechariah 11:5, whose possesses slay them and hold themselves not guilty, man.
You very much, and a lot of detail there that we now have just the right people to talk about. First, Sean Tier, he's out front. He's the Harris County District Attorney. The shooting happened in his county, and he is now investigating. So, Sean, I appreciate your time. I know that you have this investigation going. You've said that federal officials are currently not cooperating with it. They are not sharing evidence. And I just want to be clear here, because you've been doing this a long time. You say this is the first time you can remember that happening in your career?
That's right. And thank you for having me, Aaron. Look, in Harris County, we have 100 sworn police officers that work for the DA's office. We typically go out to every officer involved shooting and run a parallel investigation in collaboration from that day all the way to whether charges are filed or not, with the work and the help of those agencies. This is the first time that I can recall. Well, it's the first time we've had a shooting with ICE. And this is the first time that we haven't been invited to the scene, that we haven't collaborated from the very first day. It's not stopping us from doing what we do in every one of these cases, but it's a unique circumstance.
It's natural for things to slow down in the bedroom,
Lord,
but why
man.
settle for natural? This
Yeah.
has us jumping each other like we're 20 again. Rajir Reddy is a
Damn,
discreet
Satan,
beauty man
boy.
that does 5 things most others can't.
So what do you think's happening here? I mean, do you think that that's just general stonewalling, or do you believe there's something more, like a cover-up?
We're in the infancy. Every one of these investigations take time. They take months and months to put it together in the best cases. I remain hopeful that they will begin to collaborate and share information so that we can work to uncover actually what happened. But every day,
And they won't. They moved the officer or officers, the ICE agents that pulled the trigger. So they moved them out of Houston. So why would they could just sweep this under the rug, man. Listen, man. Hey, it is what we said it is. And that's that.
that it goes on, it becomes more and more concerning that we haven't collaborated.
Yeah. Well, right, because there's also, they're putting out a narrative of facts for which there is no evidence, because they just haven't put any out there, right? We haven't seen it, at least at this point. According to ICE, they say Araujo rammed an ICE law vehicle. Those are their words. And they also say that he weaponized his vehicle. Again, their words. So just to go back to Ed Lavandera's report and the animation he played just a few moments ago, it shows the route that the vehicles took and uses the bits of surveillance video that we have obtained, which are very important, but obviously don't show everything. In them, we do not see what ICE says happened. Now, I know that you've asked people in the community to come forward with any video, anything that they might have witnessed when this happened. Have you seen anything that shows that Araujo rammed or weaponized his vehicle?
So a couple of things. Because I want to remain and keep the integrity of this case to its eventual conclusion, I'm not going to talk about specific pieces of evidence, but what I can tell you is we have put up that secure portal for evidence, tips, anything that the community gets. We've got a QR code. It goes directly to our office. No one else has access to that. and it's monitored 24 hours a day. So if anyone has anything, whether they think it is relevant or not, anything, we're begging the community to help.
So, man, it's crazy. Let's put Jake up there. You know, there's another picture of him. Because you see, Jake gotta wake up, man. And this devil, he got a lot to pay for, man. He got a lot to pay for. You know? The Lord is going to do something terrible to Esau Edom, man. You know, because of what he did and what he's doing and what he looks to do to so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, man. And nobody's being held guilty, but they are guilty. They are guilty, man. Right? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8. Salakia. 2nd Ezra chapter 8, verse 76. It says, "For ever since the time of our fathers, we have been and are in great sin, even unto this day. And for our sins, and our fathers, we with our brethren and our kings and our priests were giving up unto the kings of the earth, to the sword and to captivity, and for a prey with shame unto this day," man. And we are a prey. We are a prey, man, to these devils. But you see, these devils got another thing coming, man. Right? These devils got another thing coming. This is Amos chapter 1 and 11. We're going to close out. "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever," man. So for what you did to the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, the Lord said he's not going to pardon his judgment that he got for you, man. You're going to be judged viciously, very viciously, man. So I'm going to leave it there. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing. The elect be edified. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. And you so-called Latinos, you are the same people as so-called Negroes, man. If you don't want to believe that, and you want to go on about your day and think that you're different and think that you're Edomite or you're a so-called white man, you do that, and your future ain't going to be, you're not going to have a good future, man. The scriptures tell you to separate from thy enemies and take heed of thy friends, man. Your friends are the people of your nation, which are so-called Negroes and Native Americans along with you so-called Latinos. So hope this was edifying. To the next lesson. Shalom.